that campaign, there's a lot of wealth in this community. There are a lot of very generous people, but there's also a lot of wealth that's pretty well tied up. And maybe it's because we haven't found the right way to attract those donors too. But that's a lot of money to raise, and I'd like to know how you did that.
Yeah, it is. Although the recent waterfront development was $120 million. And by the way, the mayor of our city was the chief fundraiser for that. Now, there was no way in hell that 20 years ago, an elected official would have had the credibility to go to the wealthy citizens and foundations of our community and say, I want you to help build out $120 million aquarium. There just wasn't that respect for public sector among those people as well. That's a change. Chief fundraiser was the mayor, and that was an even bigger sum of money. And we're not as well off financially as you are. I mean, your median household income is higher than Hampton County's. Yeah, we had 3 foundations that, well, gosh, at that time, the biggest foundation probably had $75 million. The next biggest probably had $40 million. And then there was one that was over 100, but they do evangelical mission work around the world. So it kind of wasn't a resource for us. How do you raise the money? Inspiration. Depends on who does the asking. Have you set a new standard? Jack London, the first time, was our chairman, was willing to go out himself and make calls on people. He was a hard man to say no to. It takes a champion. It takes somebody who's willing to go out there and make the hard calls and is okay with being told no several times. But I think still my most important point is every other institution did very well in their fundraising at that same time. So yeah, there had to be new donors, or donors giving much more than they were and formerly being comfortable giving. There are people with lots of wealth in Chattanooga right now who give very little. But we have generally a culture where people of wealth are expected to participate in the advancement of the city.
I'd like to get your response to, as I hear you speak, I have a personal observation. I'm just curious to see what your response is. It seems like one of the fundamental reasons for your success is because you guys have a foundation that focuses on changing the sense of public politics, a sense of urgency, and have a strategic commitment to the city, resources behind it. How important is that?
We just happen to be the agent available and willing to do it. It might not be a foundation. It might be an individual. We've got individuals in Chattanooga that are richer than our foundations. So wealth is in different places, but it does take money. It takes judicious use of that money. It takes a clever way of engaging the public as well as taking leadership. It's all complicated. And I would say we were not above politics. I would say that we were independent of politics. And I lied whenever we could be. We raised $8 million, free of it from our foundation, to build a public school downtown. So that there would be actually 2 public schools downtown. Now here's one. If you put one public school downtown, it would be filled on day one with children in the public housing project, and everybody would say, new building fine, it's not as good as one because people read demographics as a proxy for quality. They're wrong, but they do it. We made the argument you need 2 schools so that those populations can actually be stretched out over 2 different locations. And we don't have enough other people living downtown yet, but we have a lot of people working downtown. And they live in the suburbs, and their kids are going, their first graders are going to school 25 miles from where they are during the day. So we made a very aggressive recruitment in the major employers downtown. Would you like to have your kid in a school 3 blocks away where you can go see them during the day if you need to, and if there's a problem, you don't have to drive 20 miles to get to them? Yeah, it worked. We hope ultimately to move those people out as we have residences take their place. Maybe we'll need a 3rd school. But there was just enough of a demographic balance to make it a viable choice for a suburban mom working at Blue Cross Blue Shield to put her child in this school, which is still 68, 75% lower income kids. But the school's reputation for quality comes at you first before you notice the demographics. Demographics are always got getting to school unless it puts something else out there. And this is a very dynamic and interesting school. So people are tolerant. Middle class and upper middle class parents are tolerant of that normally unsettling profile of the school. The school board hated me out here. I got trashed on talk radio day in and day out for driving the public school system to do something that was utterly stupid, and a waste of everybody's money, and it cost us an arm and a leg, and you know, 'cause I don't listen to talk radio. So I have people call me and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You just wouldn't call me. I wouldn't even know. I don't care. I don't know what they say. Just doesn't matter." Because they just don't have much offer. But the school board does have influence, and they worked my case over pretty hard about this. But I had the county mayor on my side. I had the superintendent of schools on my side. I had the university on my side. I was careful to get all that laid out before I had to face the school board. And by the way, it's a little hard to say no to $8 million. But you don't, no taxpayer dollar can have it over your back.
How many school districts in Chattanooga?
We have one countywide. We don't have metropolitan government. But here's how we achieve that. The state requires counties to operate school systems. It does not. Cities may choose to create a separate school system. And they did 100 years ago, largely because the city was the prosperous place and the county was the lower income rural place. And if they wanted better schools, they had their own school districts. Times changed that economic profile flip-flops, and as it happened in Chattanooga. So you would never have gotten the voters of Hamilton County to vote to have a consolidated school system. But the city council figured out that all they had to do was tear up the city school system charter. And the county school system had to take over the city school system. All they had to do was get the city voters to agree to do that. And it was a racial issue in part. But ultimately, it passed 2 votes, and people in the county were just mad as hornets because they didn't get a say in this. All you can say is, I'm sorry, you have a constitutional responsibility to educate the children in this county. The city of Chattanooga is not doing that anymore, so it's your responsibility. We have a much more successful school system because we don't have 2 that are hurting each other. I got you've got 4 or 5 in this county, but our school system is making gains every year. We're coming from a place far back, but we are making greater gains than any other urban area in the state. And part of this is public-private partnerships. I am accountable to the Lyndhurst Foundation Board over the next 4 years to improve the academic performance of all the middle school children in Hamilton County. I'm supposed to get them from 30% of the kids scoring advanced to 50% of the kids scoring advanced. That's a big deal. I don't have many levers that I can pull to make that happen. I'm not in classroom, I'm not the principal, I'm not the superintendent, but my board says it's on you to make this happen. Now, I love that. And I'm very clear with my board every time we meet about whether we're getting the job done or